Hey, welcome to Refresh. I'm Jeremy, and I love to produce content that will refresh your spirit, refresh your mind, and refresh your vision. Some of you know that I'm a little bit of a sci-fi buff, and lately I've been watching a little bit of Doctor Who, and as I was watching an episode the other week, there was this line that just kind of jumped out at me. In fact, I had to stop, rewind, and listen again because it was a sentence that really made me think. There was something that reverberated in my spirit as I heard the words come across the screen. As you're contemplating eternity, think about one name: grace. As I heard this line, my mind was immediately flashed with a story. I could see it being played out before me. The first rays of the morning light had just broken through the crack of the curtain. There was a sense of peace, that feeling of calm. The tranquility was suddenly broken by a sharp rap at the door. The knock was followed by a loud crack as the door gave way to the crowd of men who were crashing against it. Sunlight burst into the room, blinding her for an instant. She could feel cruel hands grab her, cruel hands haul her to her feet, cruel hands push her into the open street. She glanced back. In the dim-lit doorway, the man who had laid before her just moments before sat in dazed shock. Uncaring hands began to move her up the narrow avenue. She tried in vain to cover her nakedness. As they moved her forward, the crowds began to throng around her. Before she knew it, she was thrust into an open space, thrust onto her knees before a tall man. A voice called out from behind her, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. In the law of Moses, we are commanded to stone such women. Now, what do you say?" A silence fell on the crowd. The man did not look at her, but turned around. He began writing in the dust. What was he writing? She couldn't tell. Even if she could read, he was too far away. Then a voice came from behind her, one of the men who had seized her. "Teacher, do you hear us? What should we do?" Other voices chimed in, demanding an answer. The tall rabbi stood up and looked at the crowd. "Let any one of you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her." Then he bent down and began to write again. Slowly the protest died down until it became silent. Then the footsteps started. Slow, shuffling footsteps, quickly replaced by stronger, quicker strides that moved away from her, one by one. And then silence. "Dear woman, where are your accusers? Is there no one to condemn you?" spoke the gentle voice. Slowly, she looked around. "I see no one, sir." The man replied, "Then certainly I don't condemn you either. Go, and from now on, be free from your life of sin." Slowly, the woman looked up. There was only the rabbi and a small group of his followers. One of the women came forward, put a blanket around the woman's bare shoulders, and escorted her home. This has long been one of my favorite stories in the Bible. I've often given the woman a name as I've retold the story. It's usually Anna or Hannah or Grace, and they all mean the same thing. And when I heard the line coming from the television, I thought immediately of this girl that I had named Grace. As you are contemplating eternity, keep one name on your mind: Grace. Grace, the girl who faced certain death. Grace, the girl whose dreams for her future were crushed by the reality of her present. Grace, the girl who could never live up to the hopes that her family had for her, that she had for herself. Grace, the girl who found no value in her own self or who she could be. You see, when we are contemplating eternity, we are contemplating the past, we are contemplating the present, and we are contemplating the future of our lives. And this is a place where sometimes we get stuck. Sometimes we become paralyzed to the point that we don't step into who we could be. And we often disqualify ourselves for the future that God has for us. Because of our past, we deny ourselves the joy of dreaming of the future. And the dreams we do have fall shorter of what we would have expected for ourselves, what we should have expected for ourselves? How dare we dream of a bright future when we're struggling? How dare we consider that we should be important to God? How dare we entertain such thoughts of grandeur? How could God use us after what we had done? How could we be a representative of Jesus after letting him down? Not once, not twice, but times too innumerable to remember. We resign ourselves to lives of mediocrity, lives which we do not feel are valuable, lives we feel have no impact. And when we contemplate eternity, we see a world in which we will not be missed. But as you are contemplating eternity, keep one name on your mind: Grace. Grace, the girl who unexpectedly was given her life back. Grace, the girl who was given dignity and shown honor she did not deserve. Grace, the girl who was freed from her past so that she could have a future. Grace, the girl who found hope in the darkest moment of her life. One of the most striking details of this story is that Jesus stopped to bend down and write in the sand. No one knows what he wrote, and scholars have speculated and debated what it was for centuries. Whatever it was, it impacted those who were accusing, indicting, condemning. It put them on the defensive. It exposed them. It disarmed them. It disqualified them enough that they could no longer stay in the scene. Now, I've written in the dust before, sometimes just something for fun, sometimes to quickly remember something. But one thing I have noticed is the things that I have written in the dust are not permanent. Eventually, it gets rubbed away, blown away, washed away, trodden underfoot. And as I was contemplating this, the question rose in my mind: why did God make us out of dust? Was it to let us know that he can easily rewrite our story? That with a brush of his hand, he can wipe away our past? What if the story we write for ourselves can be just as easily wiped away? What if the dancing hand of God can as easily rewrite our future? Then I began to wonder, what if after accusers left, with one sweep of his hand, Jesus wiped out not just the accusations against her, but also those who accused her? What if Jesus started to write something else? What if he began to rewrite this woman's life story? What if he began to rewrite a new future for those who had accused her? We may never know what Jesus wrote that day. The one thing I do know is that when this woman rose from the ground, she was different. She had hope. She had a future. She had a purpose. She had value. And today, whatever you've done, whoever you've been, I want you to know that God can wipe away your past and rewrite your future. You are not disqualified. You are not accused. You are not indicted. You are not condemned. You are qualified. You are free from your poor choices. You are valued. You have purpose. You have a future. And on those days when doubts come in, as you are contemplating eternity, keep one name on your mind: Grace. I hope this video has encouraged you today. And if you have found it valuable, why not take a moment to share it on your social media and click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Until next time, keep moving onward and keep looking upward.